Hi, welcome. So in this video we'll talk about how we can implement role and permission based authentication or access control list using this Entrust package. So we'll learn about how we can integrate this as well as how we can control the different part of our application so that only the user with certain permission can access those features. Okay. So another case you might want to use this is if you have paid user or some different kind of user. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So although this is the standalone video, you don't need to watch the notebook app series in order to do proceed with this video. So I'll just log in. You can register. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll only allow some users to create notebook and delete. Okay, so generally what we'll be doing is we'll be creating users like admin, uh, general user, or special user, or super user, whatever, so which have little bit more access to some features. So we will not allow some users to delete or edit notebook like this. Okay, so the purpose of this video is just to show you how you can uh, implement this kind of system in your application. So let's get started. So first we'll install this package. So first step is to just include this in your composer.json file. So you can download this project, so link is in description. .json, I will add that inside require. So once that is done, open up your terminal and run composer update. Okay, so after that we'll include this inside our config app. So here at the package providers section, we'll include this here. Also we need to include this alias over here in alias section. Next we'll just run this command in order to publish config file. So after that is done, you can check in config auth. I think you don't need this is already there. Next you need to add these to middleware. So let's go to kernel.php http on, not console. Okay, so you are inside app http kernel, and just let me collapse these. Okay, so in route middleware, just add this below here. Okay, after that we'll run migration to create the necessary tables required by Entrust. So just run php artisan Entrust migration. Okay, you need to do yes. So here you'll see new file, so it will create all the necessary table. Let's take a look. So first it will create a roles table where we have name of role, so display name and description, these are optional, so these are nullable. Second one is role user table, so it will have many to many relationship between roles table and users table. Similarly we have permissions table where we'll store the name of permission, so that way you can have many permissions for a user with certain role. So down function will drop all the table. So let's migrate this. So php artisan migrate. So if you go to database, it will create new table. So let's check this out. Yeah, so we get permissions table. Okay, so once that is done, so we need to go to this model. So first we need to create this role model, and then we need to put this content inside. So I'll use artisan command to do that. So php artisan make model, so name will be role. Let's open up role, and I'll replace everything with this one. Okay, so I will save it as, so I will create permissions. So let me check if I spell right. Yeah, permission. So the content will be this, copy. Okay, once role and permission model are created, we need to go to user model and make some changes. So first thing, we need to include this trait. So first let me go to user.php and just, so I'll use that here. Similarly, you need to use this inside as well. Okay, so after that we'll dump the composer. Okay, so now the package is installed. Okay, once package is installed, we'll seed our permission tables with some permissions. So open up terminal and we'll create a seeder, php artisan make seeder permission table seeder. Okay, once seeder is created, let's open that up. Okay, that will be inside database seeds. Okay, so here inside run, I will create new array permissions. So this array will have some value. Okay, so here I have pasted some roles, so this will be the array. So role read create edit. So with this permission, one can edit create roles. So first we'll be creating a user management where we'll be creating new roles and assigning roles. So yeah, so these stuffs. And next, these set of permissions will allow user to list notebook, create, edit and delete. So these are some of the permissions. So you can create more if your application requires more permissions. So for now this will do work. Okay, so once this permission variable is defined, let's collapse this. So I will run for each loop permissions as, okay, now we'll create permission create value. Okay, so value will be these. For each we want to create these, so that should exactly match your table name. And make sure inside permission model you define the fillable. Okay, so once that is done, let's go to database seeder, and below here I'll create new entry. So permission table seeder, and I'll run the seed. PHP artisan db seed. Yeah, so let's check this out. So inside permissions, yeah, so we have successfully created these these permissions. Okay, so now we'll create a simple interface where we'll create our roles and assign these permission to those roles. Okay, so for that we'll need our role controller. So let's create that real quick. So this will be the resource. Okay, next we'll just make a simple admin layout, so where we can manage these roles and permissions. So inside resources, views, so I will just paste an admin layout. So I've just pasted this admin folder inside views. So over here I pasted admin.css inside public CSS. Alright, so let's go to web.php and here inside auth group I will include a route. So get route, so name will be admin and we'll return view named admin.index. All right, adds admin.index. Uses okay, so here is our admin panel. Okay, so next we'll create a role crud. So let's first let's close all and we'll create a new folder inside admin. We'll name it role. So inside here I'll create new blade file called index. So this will extend this layout and okay, before that let's go to role controller and here inside index first we'll fetch all the roles, role all, and we'll pass it to view. admin.role.index compact roles. So now we have access to this role variable inside our role index. So here I'll create a table. So I'll create new row and table header will be name of role, and we'll create for else roles as role. So and for else. So if there is nothing here, we'll display no roles. Alright, so let's add this to our site nav. So site nav is inside admin, layout includes. So here we'll create a menu for roles, role and list item. Okay, I'll just copy this list item to make a bit faster. So name will be role index. Okay, so once again let's go to web.php and define our new resource for our roles. So I'll make new entry and our name is admin.role, and this will point to role controller. Okay, just make it role because we defined inside nav that role.index. So here is role and we got all the roles. So I have already some data here, you might not see these. Let's delete all of them. Let's refresh. So no roles. Okay, so now let's create a button to create role. So let's go to role index, and so here I'll create a link to create a button. So that should point to route role dot create role. I'll give it class button button success. All right, yeah, so inside role controller, inside create, we'll return new view with form to create role. Okay, we'll return the view named role dot create. Okay, we'll need permissions, so that we can assign permission to certain role. Okay, so we'll create a form. So inside role, we'll create a new file called create, and I'll copy the layout from index. Okay, so here I'll create simple form, and this should point us to route named role dot store. So everything looks good, and we need to csrf field. Okay, first will be the name of role, so this will be the name. So we'll create two more field for description and display name. Okay, so once that is done, we'll create another form field, this time select box, so that we can select what permission to assign. Actually, we'll create a checkbox. So checkbox, and name will be permission, and this will be the array, and we don't need placeholder and ID. So actually these will be the more so for each permission and we'll display the permission name as well. Permission name. Okay, so let's go to admin panel and look if everything is working. Okay, so actually it is admin.role.create. So inside role controller create, we made this correction and reload again. Yeah, so this time we can see, but it is too big. Okay, for now it will do fine. So actually just remove this class and let's add br tag at the end of this. Okay, so that's okay. Now we need to handle the store method inside role controller store. So first thing what we'll be doing is we'll first create the role. So accept permission and token. So let's go to role controller and let's make fillable. Alright, so let's go back. Okay, so this will create the role and after that we want to attach the permission to these roles. So first let's get permissions actually for each. So for each permissions, so request permission as key value. Okay, so after that we'll attach permission value. So to these role we'll attach these permissions. So after that return. Okay, let's check this out, refresh this and role. So first role will be admin, notebook listing, and we don't allow admin to create notebook, edit or delete. Okay, so submit this. So actually we are dumping this, just remove this code and reload with same data. Just remove this for now. Actually we have to call redirect then route. Alright, so actually we are creating twice, that's why it gave us that error. So if we go to roles index, it has already created. So let's create few more. So return route, now we can do with message role created. So let's create new role, this time general user. So create. So actually inside permissions, if you go to inside permission, I've already created some nodes from previous, so I'll delete them and now it should work fine. Okay, so general user, so I will give general user to node list, create, edit and delete. So we don't allow general user to perform all these tasks. Okay, so role created, we can see it here. Alright, so at this point we can create role and assign permission to those roles. Okay, so what you can do is here put action and we can edit role, so let's do that. So inside role index, let's add one more field called action, and here, so here we'll create some buttons. So for now, the link to edit the route first, sorry, role dot edit, and another to destroy. So actually we need form for that. Role. Okay, so let's copy the create form, so it will be identical as the edit form. Sorry, edit form will be identical to create form. Okay, so this is our edit. So role dot update, and this time we need to pass the role ID. Okay, so let's go to role controller, and here inside edit, so here first we'll find role find with this ID, and we need to find permissions as well. So actually we'll be needing array for role permissions, so we'll just plug ID, and in your edit, so what we'll do is just put this thing. So what we'll do, what we are doing is, so we are checking in array. So if in array this role permission there is permission ID, we will put checked, otherwise empty. Okay, so this thing. Okay, so let's check this out. So let's convert this to array. Okay, so now it's working. Okay, so let's keep display name general, and we role read as well. Let's submit. So at the moment we are not, so we have no code inside our role update. Also, what we need here is another field called method field. So let's make this apart and make this, let's actually make this patch. So yeah, so this is doing right. Okay, so here inside update, so this code will be identical with store, so we'll just copy and make slight modifications. So here, so this time we don't need to create the role, instead we need to find the role. So also what we want to do is role, so name equals to request name. Okay, so we'll use db table, and we'll delete all of them. So actually what we are doing is inside this table, so where this role ID matches with those ID, we'll delete all of them. Actually we need to import this db facade. Yeah, okay, actually that is permission role, my mistake. Okay, role updated. Yeah, so the roles Crud working. So now we can create any role and assign the permission to those roles. So one last time we need to delete permission, so let's go to destroy, and let's delete general user once again. Delete it. Let's create new one. Yeah, so this time it's working. Okay, so now we created two role, and so let's create yeah, for now let's keep two roles. And what we want to do is when a user registers, we want to assign some role by default to user. So in order to do that, let's go to register controller, and here inside create, so just replace your code with this one. So you'll have the code like this by default. Okay, so by default you'll have like this. So what we are doing is just assigning this to variable, and we are attaching this role, so where the name is general user, to the user, default user. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. Okay, now let's assign some role to our user. So let's go to user table. So actually let's create some users, so let's log out. Yeah, so we'll need all this thing just to log out. Okay, so let's register a new user. This time general g@gmail.com. Okay, so now that is registered, and we'll see inside role user, so user with id 2 got role number, yeah, role 7, general user. Alright, so that is working. So next part, what we want to do is we want to control the features according to role. So for example, what general user can do, what admin can do. So for example, we are logged in as general user. So now for example, we want to restrict general user to create new notebook. And how we can do that? So we can do that in, so one way, first thing what you need to do is you need to only allow so certain kind of user to view this button. So what you need to do is you need to hide the button for general user. So the way we do is go to this page. So this will be a notebook index. So notebooks index. So find the notebook create button. So that is here. So this is notebook create button, and we want this button to be only visible for user with role. So we can use like this, role super user. Okay, and @end role. Yeah, yeah. So for example, this is general user, and let's create one more role. So at this moment we are logged in as general user. So let's refresh. Yeah, so this is not appearing for general user. So let's log out and log in as super user, s @ so yeah, so now we are super user and notebook. Now we can see new notebook. So this is controlling the view part. So some user might access this from this URL, notebook/create. So notebook/create, yeah, it can access. So let's log in as general user and your notebook. Although we are not seeing that, if we access this from create route, we can still access. So we need to restrict that route as well. So that route is inside notebook controller. So here, so this route create. Okay, so if you go to web.php, so for a notebook create, we are using resource route. So if you are using like this get route, you can, what you can do is you can just put middleware and name of middleware. So here what we'll do is we'll create middleware inside our controller. So the way we do is first make constructor and this middleware only to, so only to method name create. So the name of middleware will be role super user. Yeah, so it throws us exception. Yeah, so that is working. Okay, let's log in as super user. And this time let's access this create. Yeah, it is working. So this is how you assign middleware. So once more, let me show you one more thing how you can do in get route. So for example, we only allow super user to create note inside notebook. So what we can do is we can add, let's make it inside new line. Okay, so here I'll add middleware, and so the name of middleware will be role super user. Okay, so like this. So let's go back, new notebook. So just give it dummy name. So now we are inside this notebook. Now create new note. Yeah, we can create. Okay, so this is how you do. So for example, you want to directly assign permission, you can do like permission. Okay, so name of permission is notebook edit. So since we have assigned already assigned permissions to our super user, so we don't need to do that in this case. So you can always do. So similarly, you can allow only allow super user to create, delete. Okay, so this will be the name of method over here. Okay, so here we are displaying roles, and now we'll create here edit button. So what I'll do is I'll use model instead, bootstrap model. So first I'll just copy this button and I'll paste it here, and I'll name it edit, and I'll make it small. And I'll copy this model and I'll put it outside table over here. And yeah, so it looks good. Okay, so let's go to our refresh. Yeah, so it looks good. Edit. Yeah. Okay, so here inside model board body we'll create a form. So this will point to route named user dot update. Okay, actually just keep this model window just below this button, okay, because we will be needing the ID in order to edit that. Okay, so here now we can use user ID and yeah, so this form, okay, so we'll just make this select field, select box, and name will be roles. All right, and this will be multiple, so that we can select multiple roles. And okay, so yeah, so we need to pass this variable, so this will be all the roles. So this might be confusing, we'll make that all roles. All right, so we need to pass that from our here index, all roles equals to role all. All right, so we need to pass it from here as well, all rules. Yeah, okay, so let's check this out, refresh. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, so these are 3 roles. User can assign multiple roles like this. So we'll give this ID role form. Okay, so here on click role form dot submit. What we'll do is first we'll get the user. User so we'll find the user and we'll change the role of the user, and at the same time we'll get roles. So before that we need to delete all the roles in our role user table. So db table role user, and then we want to create new roles defined in this update field. So for each, okay, the reason why we are updating just first record is this model is not opening. This is just opening first one because this ID getting defined multiple times. So what you can do is just put it here user ID, so that will be unique. Okay, so that will target this. Same thing for over here, so that right model got opened whenever right button is clicked. Okay, so with that said, let's edit this super user and make it super user as well as admin. So we can change user title, user name, role, edit. Okay, similarly we need to make this unique as well. User ID, Okay, so admin and super user, let's assign some role to this user. Let's make it admin. Yeah, so that's working. So let's make this super user admin as well as super user. Okay, so now we can assign roles easily. Okay, so you can just make this right, and we can also edit the roles and assign necessary permissions. So one last thing we need to do is just restrict just only allow some user to access the admin routes. Okay, so let's do that. So what you can do is you can allow only admin to edit the roles or assign the roles. Okay, so like we did for roles, you can also make constructor and this middleware, and name of middleware will be role. So this time let's assign permission. So someone with permission role edit will only access the update, or just make all of them. So with this permission, yeah, you can assign multiple permission by defining array as well. Permission or whatever, like so. Right, also we need to restrict route in web .php. Yeah, so here, so with admin we only allow, so middleware will define, so role admin, so we'll only allow admin to access this admin route. Okay, similarly, yeah, we have already did this for user inside user controller, so no need to do anything. All right, so let's okay, so now we are successfully logged out. Let's look at the permissions. Okay, so let's log in. So let's log in as super user. Yeah, so we can look at the users. So looks like all are admin. So let's make this general user just general user. Okay, so that this is not admin. And now let's log in as this general user, and let's see if we can access this route or not. So now we are logged in as general user. So now if we try to access admin route, it shouldn't let us in. Yeah, so it is throwing exception. So what you can do is you can define about 403 page, so that the user can see some good page to let them know you are not accessible, you cannot access this route. Okay, you can define this 403 page. Okay, so there is 503.blade by default. Just name it, create copy of it and name it as 403, and just make the title not allowed. Okay, and you can add text. Alright, so now if we try to visit admin, Yeah, sorry, restricted area. All right. Okay, so this is how you assign roles and manage users. So I think you find this video helpful. So this is just the simple way you can control several part of your website according to role and permission. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.